And I'm back with more Dual Destinies, and we're going to be talking to Starbuck. All I did was support Clay over my shoulder and get out of the rocket. Like always, I took the elevator down the middle level and headed for the corridor. Clay was passed out at the time we got the order to evacuate. I didn't kill him. I was trying to save him. So you assert you didn't set the bombs off or murder the victim? I bet you think I'm lying, right? I reserve all judgment until I've heard your full testimony. Ugh. I'm sure you don't believe me. I bet you don't even believe I'm an astronaut. I don't think the judge doubts that. Who'd wear a suit like that except an astronaut? I will say that when I saw you in the movie, you appeared quite courageous. Though I suppose reality never quite lives up to fantasy. Ugh. I'm just making it worse and worse. I'm just like, ugh. I'm just a big disappointment. I really don't care what happens anymore. Oh no, he's completely given up. What the? What a depressing fellow. And stop doing that, it's annoying. If you were to join me in the clink, I imagine that annoying sighing of yours would rub off on the... Thank you! Did nobody in the writing team think this was dumb? Like how it rubbed off on him a second ago? Wait, that was Blackwell? How would he sound if he did? Shut up! I am not sighing. Mr. Starbuck's testimony's gotta contain a glaring contradiction. Question is, what does it mean? Even if Mr. Starbuck's my client, I can't keep gunshine now. It's time to find out the truth. Bombing report. Yeah, like always. Okay.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, I need your testimony to be as accurate as possible. Was I not being accurate? No, because it's impossible for you to have taken the elevator down to the middle level. What makes you say that, Mr. Justice? Please recall when the bombing went off in Launchpad 1. And recall that after the explosion, the middle level was engulfed in flames. Oh, you're right, which means... Exactly. The Launchpad's elevator would have been unusable. In other words... Mr. Starbuck, your statement is decidedly inconsistent with the facts. What's with the helmet? Mission command! Mission command! Do you read me? Command, please! This is mission command. I order you to pay attention! Stop this nonsense and answer my question. My helmet! My oxygen tank! Oxygen concentration and body temperature declining. Recording. See, this alone would have been interesting. Like, he's interesting enough on his own. He's a fucking nut job. Anyway. Mr. Starbuck, we're not in space right now. Please stop pretending you've lost consciousness and stand back up. I apologize, Your Honor. I forgot I was still on Earth. I feel like we just got a real glimpse at Solomon Starbuck, the astronaut. He seemed more like an astronaut now than when he was doing all that sighing. Mr. Starbuck, could you please explain the inconsistency in your statement? Just like me, inconsistent with my words. About how you use the middle level elevator? I I was nervous and I said the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I actually took a different route, I think. A different route? I hope you were able to deliver a straight story this time. I'll get it right this time. Maybe. No. Probably. Probably. It's understandable to be nervous, but let me remind you, accuracy is paramount in court. Let's see. My escape route, I said before, was a mistake. I remember now. I took a different route. Maybe, probably. Oh, with the capsule and clay in my arms, I made my way down from the upper level. So you're saying you escaped without using the elevator? That's right. There's a ladder that spans the upper and middle levels. I used that ladder to get to the middle level. Luckily, the fire hadn't reached the ladder, so we could make our escape that way. And the capsule you mentioned. I suppose it's the thing next to Terran there? Is that capsule important that you'd risk your life to take it with you? It almost goes without saying, but yeah, that capsule contains asteroid samples. Therefore, it's invaluable as research material. With his spacesuit on, Clay weighed a ton, but securing the capsule was also important. I need you to answer to the best of your ability. Remember that your verdict is riding on the testimony. Maybe I am guilty after all. I wonder if you could see the stars in prison. That'd be more comfortable than a spaceship. Dude. This guy, I don't get him. Present space center diagram. Space center diagram.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, why don't you just tell the truth? The truth? Let's see. Earth is blue? No, that's not right. I guess the Earth isn't blue? Yeah, that's it. The truth! The oxygen concentration is super low in this area. Prepare for emergency oxygen tanks. Mr. Justice, the witness appears confused. Please help draw the truth out of him. Mr. Starbuck, under the circumstances at the time, you couldn't possibly have reached the boarding lounge via the upper level route. Huh? As long as this was the escape route.
Take that!
To get down from the upper to the middle level where the launch pad 1 corridor is, you'd have to go down the ladder. Isn't that right? Of course. It was the only way we could escape.
Objection!
But how would that work? At the time, you were supporting Mr. Terran over your shoulder, were you not? And remember, he was in full space gear, putting him well over 200 pounds. Well, it's easy on the moon. Gravity's only 1/6 of what it is on...
Objection!
Dude. God, this guy's so frustrated. But the space center's located on Earth. Short of being an octopus, climbing a ladder with an adult in space gear with one arm while carrying the capsule on your other is impossible, wouldn't you say? Oh! So, Mr. Starbuck, how exactly did you climb down the ladder with your arms full? Mr. Starbuck, come clean and tell us the truth already! Do it now! Engineer! Where's that engineer? Oxygen leak detected and foaming. Jesus! What the? He's falling to cope. Help! I'm caught in the ceiling. Help? Anyone? Bailiff, prepare the cherry picker. We must launch our rescue mission at once. Well, that's one way to take off while being questioned. I'd rather prove his innocence so we can go to space again someday for real. This guy's just nuts, dude. Now then, Mr. Starbuck, do you think you can keep your feet planted firmly on the ground? Yes. I apologize for losing control. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Not that! Anything but that! What the hell's going on? This isn't the Mr. Starbuck I know. Oh, he's pissed. It appears Space Boy is prone to deception. Witness. Yikes! Yeah? I thought your story odd, but perhaps your inconsistencies can be explained as the result of a medical side effect. Prosecutor Blackville, please! Don't talk about that! What are you talking about? Didn't I already state that Space Boy is ironically terrified to go into space? That's why he took some precautions just before launch. For you see, traces of his anti-anxiety drug were found in his system. Oh, I sense things are about to get into a nosedive. You got it all wrong. I told him during the investigation, too. I don't know anything about my drugs. I never took anything, I swear. It was found in his system, but he doesn't remember taking it? How could that be? Somebody must have slipped them to me. But I guess maybe that's why I don't remember. Because of the side effects. Yeah, that's why I don't remember what really happened. What? What the fuck is going on here? We can't get any useful testimony out of him if he doesn't remember anything. Well, that certainly explains why his testimony kept changing. Why didn't he just tell me he couldn't remember? Guess he didn't want anybody to find out he was terrified of going to space. Ugh! Maybe I really did do it. Which brings us to the answer to our original question of how the witness climbed down the ladder with a dead body. It does? So what is it? A dead man feels no pain and makes no complaints. So the body was simply dropped down from the top of the ladder. Oh my, I see. And then the defendant could climb down with a free hand. Drop the body down? Who would do such a disrespectful thing? Besides, dropping the body down would leave marks on the body itself. So you're capable of quick thinking. Yes, you are correct. Really? Oh, thanks. Ah! Wait, what's this? It's the oxygen tank from the victim's spacesuit. It's ruptured, and I'm sure you can figure out why. You can't be implying it ruptured when the defendant dropped the victim's body. I am. For they fracture easily.
Objection!
Even if that's true, the tank's explosion and the shrapnel would have left a mark on the body. Yet according to the autopsy report, only the knife was found in the victim's body. You're clearly grasping at straws for this line of reasoning.
Silence!
A spacesuit isn't heavy for the sake of being heavy. It includes the latest technological devices and is made of the fabric of tomorrow. This fabric is made to protect astronauts from the dangers of space. So falling a few Earth yards would hardly leave a mark.
Objection!
And shouldn't it be impossible to stab someone through it as well? It should, and yet through sheer coincidence, the knife slipped through a weak spot in the suit structure and found its way to the target. What are the chances? You forget that a killer is an astronaut himself, with knowledge of how that suit works. You got me there. And now my argument has been proven. Space Boy killed the victim in the rocket and then dropped the body from the upper level. After climbing down, he shouldered the body and made sure the camera recorded them. There's no room for debate about these facts. It is clear that Solomon Starbuck is the only one who could have killed Clay Terran. here. The report regarding the astronauts' oxygen tanks. Consider it a send-off gift. Feel free to use it as payment across the river Styx. 80%. Okay. This report's very detailed. Let's see, the display on the astronaut's left shoulder above the oxygen tank. Guess that means the glowing cyan digits represent the amount of the oxygen? Ugh. I'm done for. I'm going to prison instead of space! I wish I could do the Tim Carrey in space line, but no, I can't do it. It's unfortunate, because that would have been what he sounded like, I'm sure. He had to have watched that before. Space boy! Yes? Take heart. The bejeweled night sky is still beautiful even when viewed through bars. You mean the stars as seen from prison? That's right. Your cell will be your spaceship. Picture the view from the iron bars. It's like being an astronaut in your own craft for all time. That's not a half-bad thought. Mr. Starbuck? They got him good. Spaceship prison cell. Fly me, my guilt, and my despair to the deepest, darkest space! And then, let's get sucked into a black hole together! Mr. Starbuck, you can't give up hope! Huh? Apollo? You know, Clint really looked up to you. He said you were an incredible man. He said you never gave up on your dreams and passion for space, no matter the situation. He said that? So don't give up now and help me prove your innocence. For the sake of the man who respected you and believed in you. For Clay? You're wasting your breath. Oh yeah, now he's got it in his system. Yeah. Apollo, thank you. I can see things clearly now. That the rain is gone. Mr. Starbuck, I'm fine now. Thanks for reminding me of my life's mission. Right, we'll both be fine. I'll prove your innocence. You'll see. And after that, we'll get you back into space. You've ignited the booster rockets of my soul. I am on fire. I am Solomon Starbuck, astronaut, a cosmic hero chosen by the universe itself. This is no time to be whimpering and crying. I can't let you and Clay down. Balderdash. The sun, the moon, all of space is calling me Solomon Soul Starbuck. Ready for launch. Begin the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off! What the fuck is this guy's thing? What is he on? Well, I feel like I've witnessed an actual rocket launch. Apollo, you did it! You broke his grip over him. I can't take the credit, it was all Starbuck. He pulled himself through. If you simpletons are done massaging another's egos, no matter how positive your mood, my advantage remains unshakable. I have but to wait for the final guilty verdict. Isn't that right, your baldness? I can't let up now. I've got to stop him. I have to see this through. Mr. Starbuck just has to make it back to space. I won't allow his dream to remain unfulfilled. I've got to destroy his argument. What's he think? The only people at Launchpad 1 were Clay and Mr. Starbuck. And if Clay were already dead at the time, If this footage was taken, then the only person who could have killed him is Mr. Starbuck. So the only way to counter his argument is if I could prove that Clay was still alive when they arrived at the boarding lounge. In which case, I should be able to find some contradiction somewhere. Let's see. About that data we received. Supposedly proves Mr. Starbuck dropped Clay's body in launch 1. But if that's going to prove false, then there's going to be something I can use here. Enough of this farce, your boldness. Let's have your verdict.
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, you seem to be in quite a hurry to rush the verdict. But what about the oxygen tank data you submitted? It says that Mr. Starbuck's tank had 80% remaining. You stand by this accuracy on your report? Of course. Then, I guess it simply means that it's faulty. As evidence goes, you will explain what you mean, Justice Dono. It's simple. This evidence contradicts the facts of the case. Take a look at the detailed description, you'll see what I mean. I hope you have some evidence, Mr. Justice, because I don't see what's so contradictory. Yes, Your Honor, right away.
Take that!
And how does this evidence present a contradiction? The problem is this part right here.
Take that!
Note the remaining oxygen in Mr. Starbuck's tank. It appears to say 50. But according to the data, our client's tank had 80%. The oxygen in the tank increased? I see Your Honor finds this as strange as I do. It's bad enough that there's a contradiction, but the increase in oxygen is beyond illogical. Oh my, you're absolutely right. What's going on
Science!
here? I too find it odd that the oxygen remaining has increased. It would be as odd as if my rations were to increase. But what does that prove? It doesn't change the fact that it was the defendant carrying the victim's
Objection!
corpse. I'm gonna bet you don't get any more rations because you don't abide by the rules. Either way, the oxygen remaining shouldn't increase just as your rations don't. Therefore, this new information's critical. I can't overlook it. In that case, do you have an answer to this riddle for the mysteriously increasing oxygen? You better not disappoint, or I'll declare the inconsistency as mere equipment malfunction. Prosecutor Blackwell has a point. I suppose it could be a simple malfunction. If you cannot provide an adequate counter-argument, I'm afraid I must bring this trial to an end. So do you think you can explain why the remaining oxygen level increased? Of course I can! What to do at this time is for me to turn my thinking around. Mr. Starbuck has no memory of it, but he claims to have carried Clay. So this man with the 50 on the tank ought to be Mr. Starbuck, but if anything, the display on the oxygen tank should have been 80. There's a clear contradiction here. So what I should be asking is not why the oxygen level increased, but what had to have happened to make it look like it increased? Am I making some sort of mistake on my assumptions here? Well, Mr. Justice, we're waiting. Yes, I'm ready to answer. This is why the remaining oxygen appears to have increased. What if it was the other way around? The other way around, would you care to explain? As you can see, Your Honor, both men had their helmets on this footage, but it turns out this is where our base assumptions went astray. We assumed that it was Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran, but it was the other way around. It wasn't Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran at all. It was Mr. Terran who was helping Mr. Starbuck. It was what? Order! Order! Mr. Justice, you mean to tell me that the person on the right of this image is the victim? It's the only way the riddle of the increasing oxygen level can be solved. At this point in time, the remaining oxygen in the victim's tank was 50%. And when the victim was found in the boarding footage, his tank was at 0. That's right. There's nothing contradictory about his oxygen level decreasing. That means Mr. Terran was alive when they made their escape.
Silence!
How short your memory is. Have you forgotten what you yourself proposed? Even if the victim was alive at that point of time. How did he descend the ladder with his arms?
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, you can't hurt me with a broken blade. Excuse me. It's true that we don't know how he got down the ladder. I suppose that matter needs further investigating. But we've proven Mr. Terran was alive when we reached the boarding lounge. This fact alone shatters your claims and opens up the possibility the victim could have been killed by a third party. Ugh. There were 2 people who claimed to be first on the scene. Can we really trust their statements? Let's see. 2 people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Certainly possible. We gotta do a little more digging. It seems we'll have to hear the testimony of the first 2 people on the scene. Score! Come to think of it, Detective Arm should be here in court now. Bailiff, could you please show her to the stand? Huh? What? I have an announcement to make. What's the meaning of this? We're right in the middle of a trial. Please remain calm and listen carefully. Someone has reactivated the bomb. The bomb was defused, but it's about to explode. Explode? A bomb? Now? Everybody run! I don't want to die. Everybody's panicking. Yeah, no shit.
Silence!
Headless chickens with a death wish. The lot of you. Calm yourselves after all else. Come on, Apollo, let's get out of here. But what about Mr. Starbuck's dream? Who will carry out Clay's wish? I don't care what happens to me. I'm not letting some bomb blow up the truth. I refuse to let things end here. Apollo, this is no time to be dramatic. If we don't get out of here now, we're gonna die. Come on. Hey, ow, let me go. She isn't evacuated? Ooh! Juniper, you alright? Apollo, no, not that way. Ooh. Well, shit. So that's the bombing. And this was the case they were working on. It's getting even tricky now. The investigation. Day 1, I suppose. We'll have to wait until next time.